Could a man who defended witch trials and harbored authoritarian political views be considered a progressive thinker? Well, that's exactly what we will be jumping into today. The provocative enigma of a philosopher, and a man who, despite these seemingly regressive beliefs, managed to leave an indelible mark on the world of philosophy. His defense of witch trials and authoritarian politics have made him a controversial figure, yet his influence remains undeniable. To understand the enigma that belongs to this philosopher, we will have to dive into his life and views. So, let's get started. Born in 1530 in Angers, France, Jean Bodin was a man of humble beginnings. His early years were spent in the quiet academic environment of a monastery school, where the young Bodin cultivated his intellect and developed a fascination for philosophy and law. His thirst for knowledge took him to the University of Toulouse, where he immersed himself in the scholastic traditions of the time. As his understanding of the world grew, so did his ambitions. Bodin soon found himself in the role of a professor of law, sharing his insights and kindling the intellectual curiosity of his students. It was here that he started crafting his first publications, putting pen to paper and translating his thoughts into the written word. These early works hinted at the controversial ideas that would later define his career. Bodin's early experiences and intellectual pursuits laid the foundation for his controversial views. His journey was just beginning, and the world of philosophy would never be the same. Bodin's views on society, politics, and the supernatural were far from conventional. This is perhaps an understatement when we consider the breadth and depth of his controversial ideas. Let's start with his defense of witch trials. In a time where the supernatural was often met with fear and superstition, Bodin was a firm believer in the existence of witches and their malevolent power. His book, Demonomania of Witches, was a comprehensive discourse on witchcraft, arguing that witches were a real and present threat to society. He advocated for their prosecution, a view that was both influential and widely criticized. Bodin's political views were equally contentious. He was an ardent supporter of the absolute power of the sovereign. In his seminal work, 6 Books of the Commonwealth, Bodin outlined his belief that the sovereign's authority should be unchallenged and unrestricted. He argued that in order to maintain order and prevent civil unrest, the sovereign must have absolute power, free from the constraints of law or morality. This authoritarian stance has drawn criticism from many quarters, with some seeing it as a justification for tyranny. But Bodin wasn't just about politics and witch trials. He also made significant contributions to economic theory. He challenged the prevailing mercantilist views of his time, arguing that wealth was not just about the accumulation of gold and silver, but also about the productive capacity of a nation. He believed that a state's prosperity depended on its natural resources, its population, and its ability to engage in trade. This early economic realism was groundbreaking, laying the foundation for modern economic thought. Despite the controversy, Bodin's ideas had a profound impact on philosophy and political thought. His views on the sovereign's absolute power influenced the development of political absolutism, while his economic theories paved the way for the rise of economic liberalism. Whether you agree with his views or not, there's no denying the indelible mark Jean Bodin has left on the annals of philosophical and political history. Despite the controversy, Bodin's ideas had a profound impact on philosophy and political thought. Bodin's affiliations were as intriguing and complex as his views. As a prominent figure in the 16th century, his associations were as varied as they were noteworthy. One of his significant affiliations was with the French monarchy. His relationship with the crown wasn't just one of mere acquaintance, but of active involvement in the complex world of politics and law. His legal expertise was highly sought after, and his political theories were often the subject of royal attention, making him an influential figure in the court. However, Bodin's affiliations were not confined to politics alone. He was also deeply involved in the religious wars that plagued France during his lifetime. While he was a staunch Catholic, his views on religious tolerance were far from typical. He believed in the peaceful coexistence of religions, even during a time of intense sectarian conflict. Moreover, Bodin's association with the Parlement of Paris further cemented his place in the intellectual circles of his time. As a member of this esteemed legal body, he was part of a network of thinkers and jurists who played a vital role in shaping the legal and intellectual landscape of France. These affiliations, while contributing to his influence, also put him at the heart of numerous controversies. His unconventional views often clashed with those of his affiliates, leading to heated debates and intellectual conflicts. Bodin's affiliations often put him at the center of intellectual and political controversies. His life was a testament to the complexities of navigating the treacherous waters of 16th century politics and intellectual discourse. Despite his controversial views, Bodin's influence on philosophy and political thought cannot be denied. His ideas about sovereignty and the state continue to reverberate through the hallways of thought, echoing in the minds of many a philosopher and political theorist. Bodin's contributions have left indelible marks on the canvas of human understanding, particularly in the realm of political philosophy. In his seminal work, The 6 Books of the Republic, Bodin advanced the concept of sovereignty, a term that has since become a cornerstone in the edifice of political thought. His views were revolutionary, asserting that the state is supreme over the church and the law, a notion that was radical during his time. The ripples of this idea continue to influence contemporary political thought, shaping the foundations of modern democratic societies. But the legacy of Bodin extends beyond political philosophy. His work also shed light on the economic landscape, particularly through his contributions to the quantity theory of money. Bodin was among the first to recognize the relationship between the supply of money and inflation, a concept that is fundamental in modern economic theory. His insights provided a framework for understanding economic phenomena, laying the groundwork for future economists and policymakers. Yet Bodin's legacy is not without controversy. His defense of witch trials and his authoritarian political views have drawn criticism from many quarters. His ideas about the absolute power of the sovereign, while influential, have also been the subject of much debate. Despite these criticisms, there is no denying the importance of Bodin's contributions. His insights have permeated the boundaries of time, influencing generations of thinkers and shaping the contours of philosophical thought. Even in controversy, his ideas continue to resonate, offering valuable perspectives on the nature of society, the role of the state, and the dynamics of the economy. Even in controversy, Bodin's legacy remains significant in the annals of philosophical history. Jean Bodin was a man of contradiction, complexity, and immense intellectual influence. His life, controversial views, and affiliations left an enduring impact on philosophy. His defense of witch trials and authoritarian political stance still draw criticism, yet his influence remains undeniable. Thank you once again for joining us here at Philosophical Flicks for another episode. If you haven't already, we would ask that you consider subscribing to the channel for more philosophical history. We look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.